spook easily, Starl.
Have you ever explored the depths of fear? Have you ever wondered what depravity dwells within the imagination of a storyteller that prompts them to exhume horrors untold and expose those horrors to unsuspecting audiences? Some are repulsed, and some are shaken. However, there are those who are invigorated. So to those demented souls, we invite you to journey inward into the dark bowels of human imagination. Press play, and you will discover what's in the podcast.
Found some way to stop death and survive.
Two ways. Take a life. You get the time that person had left. Or you have to die.
Death is coming for us. Because we were never supposed to exist.
Final Destination, Bloodlines.
Maybe death's not actually coming for our family. Because that would be great.
And welcome back to another edition of What's in the Podcast. Here we are, months in the making. Here we are at the finale of our Legacies of Fear breakdown. Well, at least until the seventh one comes out, because this one went over so goddamn well that it was immediately greenlit for a seventh entry. So until that day comes along, here we are to talk about the latest entry in the Final Destination series, Final Destination Bloodlines, directed by Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, and actually with a script by Radio Silence's Guy Busick, Laurie Evans Taylor, and John Watts, which really surprised me, the director of the recent Spider-Man movies, and also actually the guy behind the Star Wars Skeleton Crew series. So amazing that he dipped his toe back into horror with this one. So great cross-section of creative to make. Words cannot describe how much I love this freaking movie. So, yeah, I kind of exploded on this sucker, and I'm so glad. By wonderful coincidence, Emily, when I asked, do you want to do a Legacies of Fear, you said Final Destination. It timed out. I remember it timed out perfectly because I was like, well, I do need to binge it in time for Bloodlines. Thank you for prompting me to give me the kick in the ass to get to work binging the movies leading up to this moment, because it all culminated in me fucking going nuts for this movie. So thank you, Emily.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I've had a lot of fun talking about the whole series up until this point with you.
Oh yeah. No, I had a great time doing this with you on Saw, and I had a great time doing this with you now. So honestly, if you want to be my point person for future Legacies of Fear, you go for it. So let's go ahead and compare notes for our viewing. So you go ahead, tell us about your viewing of Final Destination Bloodlines.
Well, I got a pre-screening ticket to this movie, so I got to see it. I think about a week before it came out, and I know
Nice.
after I saw it, I was like, dude, I was like, you are going to love this movie.
Oh yeah, wait,
Um,
was it a full house?
Oh yeah, of course. All these pre-screenings usually are, but it's like, man, the amount the amount of millennials in the audience who are just so jazzed about another Final Destination movie after what, 20 years? Was it 20-year difference between the last two?
Um, yeah. Oh, actually, yeah, because I think
No?
Final Destination, yeah, I think 5 came out, I think in 2011. Yeah, 2011. So yeah, it had
Okay.
been 14 years.
Dang.
Yeah,
Yeah.
14 years in between installments. And this one was in development hell for a very long time because of
Yeah.
regime changes at the studio. Um, Definitely, well, COVID happened, and then of course
hmm
the strikes happened. So this one got curtailed, God knows how many times.
And I'm glad it
But
did, because honestly, any movie that just went ahead and tried to be made during those times, just lacking, because they didn't have the
yeah,
resources they needed. And I'm glad they held off on putting this out, because I mean, I had been hearing that Final Destination was going to be a TV show. I heard they were going to make a sequel for years and years and years, and I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. And I was so
and then
excited when
yeah,
I finally saw this movie was actually getting made. I will say to the marketing team, kudos for the log truck, whatever the opposite of kudos is to your trailers, because every time the Final Destination
yeah.
trailer came on YouTube, which was like every other video, TV, anything, I had to shut it off because it was spoiler after spoiler after spoiler.
Yeah, No, I had to pretty much every time the trailer came up, I had to close my eyes and ears, and I had to hum
Mm-hmm.
so I wouldn't hear a damn thing.
Yeah.
I actually was militant about not even remotely like getting any kind of spoilers on this
Yeah.
sucker because you had told me that the trailers were crazy spoiler
Yep.
happy
Hmm.
on this one. So against all odds, I was able to avoid it going into this one. But then right when I was like, oh, I can finally breathe, then all of a sudden I had to start avoiding the promo materials for weapons.
Yeah. Yeah,
God damn
yeah.
it.
I think this movie and then Saw X were the two movies I was like, no, 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 because they're very similar, and it's like, the games and
Yeah.
also the deaths are like, don't show us any of this, please. I know you're trying
Yeah.
to hype people up for the movie, but like, you're giving it away.
Exactly. Yeah. But well, fortunately, though, I mean, at least the one thing that can at least be said about Final Destination Bloodlines is that didn't stop the movie from having a great impact because, man, not only was this a massive box office hit, this sucker was a critical hit. This sucker
Yeah.
actually got raves
Yep.
from the critics and audiences. I'm sure I'm going to run across people who hated this movie because there's always going to be the outliers, but this is one that I know was like for the most part universally loved when it first came out. People just raved about this movie. So
Yeah.
my screening, um, I think I actually went to a daytime screening of this, so I it wasn't as densely populated, but I do remember that the people who were in the theater with me were just as vocal as I. So it didn't change. So even if it wasn't like a rocket screening, we were all still having a great time, and I was still feeling the energy from it. So at least that was that.
Oh yeah. I think we are in a cool era of horror movies that are coming out 15 to 20 years after the last one. And they're really getting some cool revamps that's pulling in the nostalgia of my childhood, and they're not screwing up these sequels now. Like we were getting fatigued from like too many Saw movies, too many Final Destination movies, and it's like, okay, let's take a 20-year break and then come back to the drawing table with something fresh and new that's going to bring the audience in that loved this franchise and get them excited. And they did that with this.
Yeah. Oh, they really did with this one. I mean, this one changed the game in a lot of respects. I mean, and not just, as far as like the story, just in the way the story progresses. I mean, there's just so many times this movie did a big switcheroo that just completely changed the way we it just completely threw me off like on a footing, like on different footings. I because you get so used to the formula of these movies.
Hmm.
And even with the fifth one, coming up with the stuff they did, it still followed the same like narrative structure of the other ones. It still had the same premonition in the beginning. That we see the premonition, they get off, and then they get picked off. Bloodlines completely completely changed the game,
Yeah.
like in terms of the way the progression of a Final Destination story goes. And so many times I kept being thrown off, like as like from what I know versus what this movie was giving me. And I was already this movie's bitch, like practically like, from the first like, well, there's other reasons that this movie made me its bitch, but we'll get into those in due course. So let's go ahead and give us a synopsis because this one actually does have a different kind of synopsis.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this movie definitely delves into the idea of what if death takes way, 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 way longer to complete his list. We're talking decades to complete his list. Because the beginning sequence, which has our main character, well, one of our main characters, Iris, and her soon-to-be husband, um, showing up to the Skyview Tower. This is such a cool intro. I
Yeah.
love this tower because
Yes.
every if you're afraid of heights, you're already there.
Hmm.
And big looming towers like that, like I've been to the Seattle Sky Needle.
The
It's the
Space Needle.
Space
Yeah.
Needle,
Yeah. So have I.
sorry. And then I don't know, is that the one that has like does it have a glass floor? Or is that the
It's
one in
literally
Canada?
it's literally been decades since I've been to I was a
Sick.
little kid when I went to Seattle, but if
Hmm.
memory serves, I believe there is a glass floor on
Yeah.
the Space Needle. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, even that my brain was going to hell. Even when I saw the poster, I thought, oh my God, are they going to destroy the Space Needle on this sucker? It's like, no,
That's what
it's
it
just
looks
a
like. It looks a lot
yeah,
like it, yeah. But I mean the
yeah.
poster is badass. It's just this thing on fire with Death's skull behind it. And I'm just like,
Oh, yeah,
oh.
Yeah, this exploding Space Needle with deaths with a bloody skull behind it. I was like, no, that's a fucking metal album.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a metal album cover right there. I mean, I would see
Death
that.
Needle.
Yeah, something like that. That's what yeah, I'll talk to my friend Rob and like saying, tell me, is it would you see that on a metal cover? And I'm pretty sure you'd say, oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
I would
yeah.
see that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we the whole like first, I guess you could say first 15 or maybe 20 minutes of this movie is all about Iris going to the Skyview uh restaurant up at the top. It's just this whole
We
oh
get a
this
little
go
history on it, like it was completed 5 months early, which she says, is that a good thing?
is that a
As
good
they're
even I'm
headed
saying
up the
like
rickety elevator to the top.
which and with a horrible elevator operator who has absolutely no consideration for weight capacity.
Sure, yeah.
But
Yeah,
again, this is
I love that it really sets the tone of like this is a brand new building, but it's already kind of rickety and falling apart because it's not super complete. That's what you
yeah,
get that feeling when you watch the elevator doors when they're going up and you're like, uh-oh, that's not good.
yeah. And I kind of want to wait to talk about this quirk of the Final Destination movies, because this, to me, in my opinion, is the one that did it the best. Specifically, the way it builds up anxiety from just everyday things happening
Hmm.
all around you.
Hmm.
This movie did it the best. I mean, all the movies did it in their own wonderful ways of varying degrees of success, but this one is the one that really went hard into everything about this location that is going to give us anxiety. Everything in that place is from the creak of the elevator to the fact that they're, the hibachi, flaming up, from the fact that
Hmm.
there's glass floors and the fact that,
Lots of
they
wind
had
when they go
lots of,
outside, lots of wind.
yeah, and even a bastard kid not giving a shit about
God, that
safety.
kid. That
That
kid and
fucking
that
kid.
godforsaken penny.
That fucking penny. That is like you know how they say the bad penny turns up. That is the worst fucking penny.
Hmm. Hmm.
Worst fucking penny of all of them all.
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, that's a bad penny.
Yeah, went to several
Yeah.
Final Destination events around the time this movie came out, and they were always handing out a penny, and I'm like, I fucking, how dare you?
Oh
How
man.
dare you?
I would
And
have loved to
even
have.
at the con I just went to, one of the guests who plays the aunt in this movie, Aunt Bertha,
Yeah.
because Uncle
Aunt
Howard
Brenda.
and yeah,
Aunt
yeah, yeah.
Brenda.
Aunt
Yeah.
Brenda and
Aunt
Uncle
Brenda.
Howard were at this event I was at. She was handing out pennies at her table, and I'm like,
I love it.
you know.
You know, I love it. All right, so yeah, we have this big old set piece where this major disaster happens. Well, again, incredible disaster where in this case, like they say, like hundreds of people die
Yeah, the
in
biggest
this one.
disaster. Um, and well, I guess it's not the biggest disaster because I mean the bridge could have had hundreds of people on it. This was the biggest disaster.
80, 80, they actually say 80 something people
80
died
something
on the bridge.
people.
Yeah, like 87 or
Gosh.
81 or 87, one
Okay.
of those two.
So
Yeah,
it
this one
is.
apparently they say in this instance it was like 150 people die in the
Hmm.
Skyview um disaster. So, but this is the one where so many horrible things happen, from the glass floor
It's
breaking
yeah, it's
through.
lengthy. It's like
The
a lot of these premonition scenes. It's like they gotta pack a lot into a short period of time and get on with the movie. It's like this one they really took their time with it, which I appreciate. The movie I think is longer than all the other ones too, and
yeah,
it kind of
actually, yeah.
needed to be.
It really did, because this one had a lot of big ideas that it needed to flesh out. Beyond that, and we'll get to them in a bit, but fortunately, they had a great cross section of characters they needed to get screen time to. But I gotta know, when that fucking kid gets pancaked by that fucking piano,
Did they cheer? Yes,
yeah,
and so did
did they
I.
cheer?
Yes.
Like I
Yes, and
said,
so did I.
my theater was not densely it didn't have as many people in it, but by God, did we fill the fucking theater
Uh-huh.
when that piano squashed that little fucking kid.
I've never seen people so happy to see that little kid get smashed.
Oh man. Yeah, that is probably the most gleeful response to a child death I've ever seen since
Yep.
Terrifier 3. You
Hmm.
know, I mean,
Absolutely. Yes, this
and
little
even then
menace of a kid was told several times, don't throw pennies from the top. You could kill somebody. And he's just such a jerk of a kid and a fitting character to set off the entire disaster, really.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, and even better, that little penny, that damn penny just completely like carries through the entire goddamn movie in ways that you did that are so
Yeah, a
exciting and
penny
so
which he
easy.
stole from the fountain at the bottom and throws off the top to set off the disaster. Like, ah, great.
And after the kid gets squashed, because that penny was on the piano fell, crushes the kid, the penny actually lands perfectly back into the well that it was initially stolen from.
Yeah, he said, don't steal it. He did not
Don't
listen.
fucking
Listen to
steal
people
it.
next time.
Yeah.
All the
About
things he
that.
could have avoided. Yeah, that's karma.
Yeah.
That's a lot of karma right there.
Pure. Pure karma. But and now from what I well recently Dead Meat just did the kill count, so we actually did a whole behind the scenes breakdown. Originally this whole opening was meant to be they actually were going to do this on a cruise ship.
Really.
But yeah, but what do you think
I
stopped
think
them?
this makes a lot more sense with the fear of heights. Because
Well,
once
what do you think was the original thing that stopped them?
oh,
Well, let's face it, can you do better than another disaster movie at sea involving a sinking ship?
oh, sure. Yeah.
You
That's
can't do
true.
better. You
That's
can't do
true.
better on the budget they were probably working with. They could not do better than Cameron. Sorry,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true. Well, I think they made the right
yeah,
choice then because I
yeah,
the tower, it's just it takes such a departure from the other disasters. Like I think originally there was some AI images of just like towers that looked more like the two towers, and I was like, hopefully they're not doing that. That seems a little
yeah.
tasteless, but this is a very specific type of tower. And it's
Hmm.
supposed to be for entertainment, which is, supposed to be a good time and not not good times
Exactly. No,
happen.
yeah, yeah. We're not going to do a freaking Robert Pattinson remember me with this bullshit. No, we're not going to do that. Oh, there was a deep cut. But speaking of straying from the norm, the movie the thing that threw me off from the start of this movie is that now you're thinking in true Found Destination fashion that okay, we're going to do the zoom in right when Iris dies in the premonition, then all of a sudden zoom out and here she is
And it's
back at
going to
this point.
show how she saves everybody. Yeah.
Well, you don't know what's gonna happen, but then no,
Yeah,
camera
because
pulls out, and
that's not what happens.
yeah, we end up meeting our actual main character, Stephanie,
Mhm.
played by Caitlin Santajuana. Yeah, and all of a sudden we're like, wait, who's this person? Who's it? What's going on here?
Yeah,
And it's not a
very
premonition.
jarring.
It's a bad dream. And
It's a bad dream.
immediately I'm like going, oh no, this movie's doing something different.
Hmm.
Immediately I was like, this movie's
Yeah.
not gonna be. And it's like we're in the now, we're in the current. We don't. It's not. It's like, what are we doing? What is this movie doing? And I'm intrigued.
Yeah, because clearly the original date of that premonition was what the
I think it was like
60s,
I want to say
50s?
early 60s. I want to
Yeah,
say
because they
early
said 50
60s.
years passed, and I'm assuming it's taking place present day,
Yeah, present day. So yeah, I'd imagine something
60.
like that.
Yeah. So I was like, there's no way this movie's going to take place in the 60s, right? Like
Yeah.
that already felt like odd. I was like, this is interesting. It's taking place in the
Oh yeah.
past.
Yeah. So we find out that Stephanie is having nightmares of this whole incident, and she's like, all she knows is that it's involved someone's name Iris, and the only thing she knows is that she has a relative she's never met named Iris.
Which
And
incidentally, Iris in her premonition was pregnant with a child and
mhm,
was going to get married or was proposed to that day.
exactly. Exactly. Well, this actually this kind well, this is why another reason why I was so excited to get to this because we alluded to this when in one of our prior ones. I believe it was when we talked about this. Yeah, it was the second when we talked about the second one because of the idea of life. When something's born as a result of a life being saved, it ends up causing a chain reaction, like how significant a life is, where those lives end up creating new lives and it ends up causing a chain reaction. Well, that's kind of what happens during the whole span of this movie is the fact that, or that the whole thing that kicks off this movie is that from the incidents that occur in the beginning, it ends up causing a chain reaction, which because hundreds of people were saved, hundreds of people out there breeding, hundreds of people out there having families, and it's like, oh no,
Yep.
death,
Death
that's
really messed up the paperwork on this one, and his boss is gonna be real mad that he's taking centuries to wipe out these families that shouldn't have existed.
oh, so you did read my one act, okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we know we did actually write that. So it's like, yeah, I thought I sent it to you anyway. But
Hmm.
or did I? No, I didn't. Anyway, but Yeah, that was kind of our thought. It was like, Death like had this big old grand scheme plan for the Skyview, but then someone fucked it up, or someone
Hmm.
sabotaged him,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So in the sphere of the Reyes family, the Reyes family. Stephanie has been having these nightmares, which unfortunately has been driving her to near madness, pretty much derailing her college career,
Hmm.
forcing her to have to go home to try to figure out what the hell these nightmares are all about. And it relates to this grandmother that went batshit insane and has now been living as a recluse.
Hmm.
But as we discover, Stephanie has been also she herself has been distant from her own family.
And her
And this
mom
is
has been distant from them as well. She hasn't seen her mom since she was like 10. So like this trauma, this issue with her grandma has been bleeding through the bloodline.
Yeah, hence the title. Actually, that's the other thing I gotta dig about this. Like when I heard the title was Final Destination Bloodlines, I'm like, oh god, Bloodlines. That's such a cliche title. I'm like, no, this is actually the time where bloodline actually is a
Hmm.
bloodline is the major important part. Most of the time they just throw that line around as just like a cool sounding name, but that was like, no, it actually is
Yeah.
important. The whole
It's
concept of the
it
bloodlines
it's
is
about the bloodline of these survivors that shouldn't have survived.
yeah. And the one thing this movie really has going for it, and I actually thought about this. I rewatched the movie recently, but when you go from movie to movie to movie, it's always the type of characters like our cast are always like a specific type of character. The first movie, it's like, you know, just kids in high school. Second one, random bystanders on the freeway. Third one, graduating class. Fourth one,
People
we
at
don't
a
know.
NASCAR event.
But even then, just our core characters are just a group
Yeah.
of friends, and that's
Hmm.
that's I think another reason why that wasn't that they're just a group of friends and nothing interesting. And even the fifth one is coworkers. I
Yeah.
was like, but here is a full blown family. It's like this,
Yeah, I think
and
the closest we've gotten to that is three. Our main character had a sister who was also involved in it, and that's the closest we've seen to like family members being involved. This is all family all the time. And what's
yeah,
interesting is they didn't even deserve it. Like they didn't have anything to do with this event. They just
yeah,
existed.
and automatically you're on a good footing in terms of making you care about your characters because none of these characters asked for this shit. None of them
Right.
were involved. They were here because, and even then, it all came about because someone did something right.
Hmm.
They did something good,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, from that good deed, they suffer for it as a
Yeah,
result.
and it's not only that, like Iris is this outcast of a character that the family wants nothing to do with because she ruined their childhood by obsessing about death, by constantly telling them about the ways they could die and sending them information about these families that are slowly starting to die over the years. Like it would seem insane to me too if my grandma was doing
Yeah.
this to me.
Yeah, and it all came about when her husband died. It's
Hmm.
like she just went freaking insane because of it, which is blatantly clear that the husband obviously died by well, death's fuckery. So it's blatantly that you can totally understand, especially given what she went through. It's like when you have a yeah, and that was the other thing. It's like you find, oh no, Iris was she did have this premonition. It's just now because of it's just now because well, and they actually discover is that because Iris is about to die because they find out she has cancer. Now that vision's being passed over into Stephanie because I why Stephanie specifically we
Oh,
don't
yeah, I don't
know.
know why Stephanie specifically, but she is the unlucky one, or the lucky one maybe. I don't know. It's kind of a curse and a
Yeah,
blessing that she got this premonition. But
yeah,
she has to go track down her grandmother first to find out just who she is and what's going on. Because when she mentions the sky view to her aunt and uncle, the look on their face is like, oh no. She's like,
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about. Tell me.
yeah, and even better, and this movie takes it. And the other thing I gotta give this movie is, the movie takes full advantage of what the audience knows about the way people respond to the whole concept of this movie, the idea that death is following you, because when you tell us that a family member goes insane, and talking about premonitions of death and all that stuff, it's like we know because we've seen other characters deal with this. I mean, Clear Rivers, I think is probably the other really extreme version of this, but Aunt Iris said,
Yeah,
"Hold my
yeah.
beer." Aunt Iris
Yeah,
said, "Hold
yeah,
my
yeah,
beer."
exactly. And I think we mentioned that when we talked about two with Clear, how it's like she survived this long avoiding death, but she's not living. And the fact that her family's disown her and everything, it's like we are not even living. So yeah, death is after you, but like he's already kind of won.
Yeah. I mean, in the case of Aunt Iris, well, I think the one thing about Aunt Iris, though, or not Aunt Iris, just Iris,
Granny
Grandma
Iris.
Iris, Granny Iris, I think the thing that she just rationalizes that if me living like this is just the means that other people can have their life,
Yeah.
that they can live their life, then I think she just is at peace with that because of the idea that
Well, sure.
if me sacrificing my life
Hmm.
means that my family can have the life that they deserve to live,
Hmm.
then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that works well with Iris, how she had a family. If she was, a single recluse, then that would be more not living a life. But the fact that she knows if she stays alive, everybody else is safe, then that's a sacrifice that she was willing to
Mhm.
make her whole life.
Precisely. And well, unfortunately, now that Aunt Iris, or I keep saying Aunt Iris, but because Iris gets cancer,
Hmm.
that's basically death saying, I got you no matter what. I
Got
mean,
you anyway.
I could kill you sooner, but I'm killing you now, no matter
Hmm.
what. So guess what? I'm coming for the rest of them now because it
Yeah,
all comes down to this family. And my God, I love this family. I love this family so
me
hard.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really,
Every
really great personalities, really great characters. Like, oh man.
I mean, we have to talk about the MVP of this entire fucking movie. We have to talk about Eric.
Yeah, of course.
Richard Hart. Now, I mean, by obligation, we should be talking about like the focal family member, Charlie, actually played by Teo Briones, who I have met at Spooky Empire. A really sweet kid.
Yeah.
Well, we met him right after he wrapped on Chucky because he was in Chucky season one as a junior. Which have you watched Chucky?
No, I didn't have access to it.
Oh, uh, I believe you still haven't gotten that Shutter subscription I told you about, did you?
I don't do subscriptions. I
Uh,
can't.
it is also on Peacock.
I don't. I have Paramount. I don't have Peacock. I basically mooch off of
Uh,
whoever has subscriptions around me, and I don't have Peacock either.
well, if you're really good, I may give you my Peacock subscription. Now, no, if I give you my Peacock, you have to watch that, but then you also have to watch Twisted Metal.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you would no, you would love Twisted Metal, I guarantee
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, but Teo Briones plays Charlie, who is Stephanie's younger brother, who pretty much took her distance the hardest because it was
Yeah.
clear that they were like thick as thieves as before she went off to college, but obviously she started growing distant. But normally in any other movie, it would just be a cliche of, oh, I'm growing up, I'm moving on. It's like, no, it's just the simple fact that my life is turning to shit. And it's been really hard for me to look at you all because because look who I was before I went.
Yeah.
Because they established that Stephanie was actually a star student prior to going to
Hmm.
college, but now because of these visions and because of these nightmares, her life is just complete. Her college career is going to shit because of
Yeah. I
it.
think she said she like either got kicked out of school or she's
She's on academic probation.
a probation. Yeah, because she's fallen asleep in class having nightmares. I mean, that's gonna put a
Exactly.
damper on your schooling for months and months and months.
Precisely. So yeah, this poor yeah. So that's the other thing about this movie is that nothing is easy in terms of like why characters do the things they do. It's not just a simple case of like I hate you or I love you or something like that. A lot of times it's because I am just going through some shit right now and shit has happened to me and I can't and it's just really hard for me to deal with it and I don't know how to deal with it in the right way. And there are people who think they're handling it in the right way, but they aren't. So it's like it's I think this is easily the most emotionally complex Final
Yeah.
Destination movie of the bunch.
Yeah, and it makes sense because we're dealing with family instead of just people who are forced to hang out with each other because of this trauma or total strangers who went through something together. Like it's a totally different level when it's family.
Yeah. And the thing that really helps bring this movie together is the fact that this is not a dysfunctional family. This is a legitimately loving family. Like
Hmm.
this family loves the hell out of each other. And even more so, another key thing that we also have to note is that yeah, Stephanie and Charlie's mom, kind of as a result of Iris's mothering, ended up becoming a recluse herself.
Hmm.
Ended up abandoning them when they were like 10 because and even her reasoning is not the reasoning you think. Even based on what you're thinking is like, okay, it's probably because she's paranoid too. It was like, no, it's even worse. And they get into it. And I was like, and the explanation that her mom, Denise is her name, her explanation is amazing. She says like unfortunately, the time came where I was starting to face more like actually when I had you both, I started seeing all the angles because of all the trauma that I had to live with as a kid.
Yeah.
I now have kids, and now I'm seeing all the ways that you could die, and it
Hmm.
was driving me crazy, and I didn't want to put that crazy on you like
Yeah.
it was put onto me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
perhaps maybe the reason why Stephanie ends up getting the premonitions is it's fate or death or whoever's giving them premonitions way of passing it on to the next person who's distancing herself from the family to drive them crazy too. And she has more of a shot to do something about it because she's not as distant as her mother is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, precisely. And I love the way this movie with all of our characters. I like the way how they have every single one of the characters responds to the trauma in their own particular way.
Hmm.
I mean, actually, Uncle Howard, it was kind of amazing to, well, first off, the actor who you met, Alex Zahara, um, he really does a great job portraying internalized trauma, but I
Hmm.
love the way he buries it under optimism. Like he tries
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
he basically it's that idea of burying your trauma and burying it under this need to be not like the source of your trauma. And
Yeah.
as we see, he's actually a loving father who I think one of my favorite moments with him, and he's not in the movie long, but the one major thing I love is that when Denise comes back into their lives, they take the time to actually see that, yeah, ran away and it was a sucky thing to do, but I like the fact he still takes it
He's like,
upon
you're
himself to,
welcome to come back. Like,
yeah.
I think you should stay here. And it's like, dude, you don't cast her out because that's what something she chose to do. And even though she denies him, it just shows how he wants to keep this family together despite all the trauma and the things that they've been through with Iris
Hmm.
and now her leaving the family. And what was
Yeah.
cool is when I spoke to Alex, he said, of all the characters I played, Uncle Howard is probably the most I'm like. So I'm like, I think that's how he was able to
Yeah, that's nice.
really, really connect with the character. And I was like, he's such a fun character to watch because yeah, you can feel how he's just trying to keep this family together.
Yeah, but and again, because the rest of the family are actually so well fleshed out, and because there is this great tight-knit uh way about them, you do actually have the nice reassurance that he probably doesn't have to work that hard because the family really do seem to have a affection for each other. But because we talked about before, but even to the point where two characters who I would never think would be so chummy is freaking Eric and his brother
Bobby.
Bobby.
Hmm.
It's like Bobby's like the clean
Oh,
cut jock guy,
he's the
and
protective brother of Bobby for sure.
oh
Um,
man,
like when Dolores shows up with the cookies, Charlie tries one and he goes, "Is there peanut butter in this?" And Bobby backs up because he's deathly allergic to peanut
yeah,
butter. And Eric just comes to his side and is just, "You trying to kill my brother? Like, what are you doing?" Like you could tell
yeah.
he's the protective brother because Bobby, as we'll see through the movie, is a little less hardened than
Is he?
Eric.
Oh, he's a teddy bear.
Mm-hmm.
But Bobby is just a he is a he is a doe-eyed little Chad. He's
Yeah.
just a just and not
And you might
there's
think
not a
that's
meme.
naive too, because when Steph first starts talking about this, he's the first one who's like, "So you're saying we're on death's list?" Like he's trusting of anything, even if it
Yeah,
sounds crazy. And I was like, I love his character. He's because he's so where everybody else is going to be frustratingly to us because we know what's going on. Frustratingly like, I'm not listening to you. This sounds like insanity. Bobby's the only one who's like, really? Like, is that really what's happening?
yeah. Well, and I love that you're bringing up this point. This is a great point because even with the naysayer characters, because we also have Julia,
Hmm.
played by Anna Lore, who was recently in the awesome show Hysteria, also on Peacock.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I'm giving you our login. All right. So, but um, yeah, even she's a naysayer on the whole thing. All the stuff that Stephanie spouts, when she starts going full
Hmm.
Charlie Day, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, uh, conspiracy mode. Yeah, doing
With the
that.
map on the wall, with the
Yeah,
map of
yeah,
all the deaths and all the people throughout the years. I mean,
it's
what sparks that too is when she saw Iris, she was also very hesitant because Iris was a little overbearing with her paranoia, but she dies right in front of her. She's like,
yeah,
"You want to see this happen?" She walks outside and she's like, you want seeing is believing, and then she immediately dies. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot of proof right there that she's not crazy. So it kind of makes sense that like Stephanie would start being like, guys, come on, something
Oh
crazy is
yeah.
happening here, and she's not that insane.
But from outsiders' perspective, everyone else just legitimately believes that because Stephanie saw Iris die and because she
Hmm.
actually went
Sure.
against their wishes, against Uncle
Hmm.
Howard's wishes, went to go see Uncle Iris, everyone's probably just freaking out about, and even worse, the one bit that I know was spoiled in the trailer, which mercifully I again did not see. We have an amazing whole backyard
The
garden
cookout
party
scene, yeah.
cookout scene
Yeah.
involving a shard of glass in ice, which god damn, that whole bit gave me anxiety.
Yeah, after working at a restaurant and having glasses break, it's fascinating to me how I know Bobby's the one who cleans it up, but I was like, my dude, there's glass right next to ice. You don't think maybe it could have fallen in there?
Yeah, no,
Perhaps.
at that point, what you do, you have to drain out that
Yeah, you're
thing.
done. I've had it happen before, and everybody's like, everybody stop. We gotta get this ice out of here. We gotta full on clean it. I'm like, oh, just
Yeah.
the violations at this cookout even.
It's like you could tell that none of these people have ever worked a restaurant in their
No.
life. Not at all. Not at all. But and actually, yeah, and if I think if you want to be tech well, I mean, there's a second death. I mean, Iris ends up dying. Well, here's the funny thing about Iris's death. Technically, she dies exactly the way she was supposed to die in the premonition.
Oh yeah.
Think about it. She gets her head impaled when she falls.
Hmm.
Well, she gets her head impaled on a spire.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, the weather vane fell off the house and got propelled through her head. So that's
Hmm.
exactly how
Hmm.
it happened. But
Yeah. Death had
um,
this. He's like, I just had this idea and I haven't been able to let it go for 50 years. You gotta die that way. I'm sorry.
yeah.
It was a perfect artistic design.
It's like every year that passes that I don't get to do this shit, I'm gonna make sure that shit happens.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
Iris lives on this just hellscape of a property. I don't know how she afforded this place. She lives in like a Dead by Daylight map in the middle of the woods where it's covered in spikes and barbed wire and her house is just loaded up with spikes, I guess to keep people out. But I was like, bro, you step 1 foot outside this house, you're dying. You gave death so many weapons here. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even inside was no better.
Yeah, I mean, as she was talking to Steph, Death starts doing some stuff around her house I was like, guys, this is not a
It's
safe
like,
place. How's she living here so long?
who'd you buy this house from?
I
Bill from the
don't
monkey? What the
know.
hell?
Had a
Like
big
Bill
old
from the
gate
monkey or
around it.
something?
It was insane.
Yeah, it was either that or the Brujo from Ash versus Evil Dead, you know? I mean, who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe, but either way,
incredible
that was
cabin.
yeah,
Like
gorgeous. Yeah,
stone walling. Like who built this place?
I
Incredible.
know. I know. But yeah, so we had but I'd say like the first real Final Destination Rube Goldberg sequence was this garden party sequence,
Hmm.
is because and actually very similar to the gymnastics one in the
Yeah.
terms of the fact that it baits you
Hmm.
focusing on one thing. You don't think, and even then they also bait
We
on
were focused on
weren't
like
they?
three different things because we had people
Well,
jumping on
yeah,
a trampoline with a garden rake underneath it.
exactly. But then you think that the garden rake is diffused because Denise catches the rake.
No, but that's just what Death wanted.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Death played him.
Yeah.
And even then, the glass ends up in the broken glass ends up in one of their drinking glasses, and you think that's where it's gonna happen. And even Julie
Nope.
does a ha, ha, oh, there's a
Yeah.
bug in my
Oh,
drink.
it's a bug in my. Oh man, come on,
But
you're
then
killing me
the
here.
drink gets spilled. Yeah, exactly. I just keep going, oh my God. No, that's
Where is
no,
this glass going? You know somebody's going to inhale it or something's going to happen to it.
but then it ends up on the ground, and you're like,
Hmm.
no, no,
Hmm.
this is gonna get worse. And then just oh no,
Dude, that
poor
impaling through Uncle Howard's foot, just straight through it. And he's hopping and he's
yeah.
like, I'm fine. I'm like, bro, you're not fine. You got a
No, you were
straight up
not.
shard of glass sticking out of
And it's
your
like, no,
foot.
that shit, you go to the fucking hospital with that shit.
Ow.
No way. Yeah, and but then no, he gets the worst shave, the worst shave ever. You know, when a friggin'
Little too
lawnmower
close,
lands on
little
his
too
head.
close.
Yeah, too close, a little too close. There. Okay. Yes.
Which,
Oh
if you saw him
man.
at this con, I thought it was hilarious that if you chose one of his pictures for him to sign, two of them were just him underneath that lawnmower, and I'm like, where you can't even tell who it is
I
anymore.
I love it when they do that. I love it when
Yeah.
they have a when on their autograph table. This is why I love. horror cons and why I love horror celebrities because a lot of times their pictures will be the funniest fucking thing. I
Hmm.
mean, like when I got my autograph with Greg Nicotero, he I got the picture of his head on the slab from Day of the Dead because
Oh
he actually
yeah.
had like yeah. So I was like, no, that's the funny because I'll say it before and I'll say it again. It's actually funny. All the great makeup artists literally give head for the business. Every one of the greats at some point or
Oh
another
man.
have actually done a beheading scene where their own head gets taken off.
Oh, interesting.
Tom Savini with Maniac, Greg
Hmm.
Nicotero for Day of the Dead, um, Tony Gardner for Seed of Chucky.
Wow.
You know, yeah,
That's awesome.
that if you actually look at that, like all of them have literally had their own heads taken off. It's
Yeah,
actually pretty funny.
that's
Yeah,
fitting.
so yeah, it's great. So yeah, this was the first. So yeah, this was like the first big moment that, and you gotta feel bad for this family. Like now Iris dying, everyone's like, you know what? It's a great excuse for the family are actually coming together, and you actually see them like on the verge of reconciling. But now, Uncle Howard dying, and now this whole family is
Those were the ties holding this family together is Uncle Howard and his attempts to try to lure Dolores back in, and it's like, oh, he's
and
gone
here
now.
comes and well yeah Denise coming back and
Denise.
got Denise back and then but now unfortunately after Howard dying now you have Stephanie just spouting like all the same insane rhetoric
Oh
that
yeah.
and
Hmm.
now that's even making it worse. So I love the fact that the family is not rejecting what they're saying not because they don't want to believe it because it's a level of insanity that they don't want to accept because it's an insanity that they have rejected for years and they have
Yeah,
been
they've
fine.
heard all this before, and they just feel like it's just insanity trickling down the bloodline, and it's like, well, now you're talking crazy, just like Iris is talking crazy, because they never witnessed what Iris witnessed. She's been having these nightmares. She
Yeah,
saw Iris's death right in front of her.
but even worse is now, because of all this crazy shit happening, now Howard dying so soon after Iris did,
Hmm.
now they're fighting. Now they're not just fighting against trauma, they're fighting against the possibility that, oh my God, what if Iris was right?
Yeah, tainted with that craziness that may not be
Yeah,
crazy after
that
all.
may not be crazy after all. I mean, but that's I think all the more reason why Eric is such a freaking great ass character is the fact that he is just someone who is just denying it just because
Hmm.
he just doesn't want now on one side it could be because he doesn't believe it, but simultaneously he's just like,
Well, I think the biggest thing is he loved his dad a lot. I mean,
yeah, he did.
he tattoos dad on his arm and he plays some sad music in the background while he's doing it. He's torn apart from watching his dad just die. He's not interested in this crazy nonsense. He just wants to move on from this death he just witnessed.
Yeah, and his own personal near-death experience, which
Which, my
again,
God, is death just bored? Because we'll explain
well,
why.
here's the funny thing about that is that we do find out that no, he did not die
Mm-mm.
from the whole thing in the tattoo parlor, which again, great fucking sequence, mercifully again, I avoid watching it in the trailer.
Yeah,
Uh,
same.
but he almost died from bad decoration and
Yeah, really terrible setup with those chains and that
yeah,
giant
really set
fan.
up. That was a recipe for disaster to begin with. That was just fucking idiotic. But they do a cutaway where you think that maybe he burned to death in there, but it's like, no, he actually was fine. Now,
Yeah.
what I'm thinking is that this is Death really playing the long game. I think he was planning for him to survive that so that he would show up in that moment because Stephanie and all of them were going to show up at that key moment because they knew that he was going to show up. I think Death is was playing a very elaborate
Yeah.
long game,
Yeah. It's
using
possible.
using
Very, very much so.
yeah, using Eric as a pawn in order to
Hmm.
get people because ultimately because Julie ends up there at the same time
Hmm.
and everyone's attention is focused on Eric because Eric is being so cavalier about the whole thing. I mean, he nearly gets pancaked by a freaking bus or
Which
by a
I
freaking
guess we
truck.
could explain that the pattern of this one is the oldest to youngest in the family. So Eric, after his dad, is the next in line. So we're all focused on Eric the entire time. Uh, but I think I was like, after that scene, I was like, that's not something I've ever seen before where they just kind of survive it and nobody
Yeah.
helped them survive it. So it felt off to me. Like, why did Death just give up? Like,
Yeah.
especially because it's like a
But then
cutaway scene, and all of a sudden he's fine in the next scene. I'm like, that's interesting. Why
but
did
then
that
we
happen?
discover, yeah, but then shortly after we discover no, the next person on the list was Julie, who,
Yeah.
oh my God, I love a good background
Hmm.
gag. And the
Oh
fact
God.
just I love the setup for it. Stephanie actually
Yeah.
accurately predicts what's gonna happen.
There's
It just
some
happened to
goofy, like, oh, that could fall and then it caused the gardener to blow leaves into the
blow leaves at
kids'
this kid, and the
faces,
kid
and
will
then
run.
they'll hit you with a soccer ball in the face. And he's like, "Oh, I'm so scared." But then Death is like, "You know what? That's just stupid enough to work."
And it did, and
And
it
it did.
did.
It's
And even
exactly what
better, just
happens.
in pure cartoony fashion, you see the soccer ball hit her head. And I love it. Even Eric's like, "Oh no, the lethal soccer ball." And it's like, no, the soccer ball
And he's
knocks her
even
into a
like
garbage
taunting the
can.
garbage truck that's there because she's like, "Get away from the garbage truck." And he's
He's
like,
making out with the
"Why?"
garbage
He's
truck.
making like, Eric, come on, man. Sanitary reasons. What the hell?
I loved it. Oh, it's so great.
Just
But
taunting her
that,
with his shenanigans.
but then we get a great garbage truck kill, which the special effects on the garbage truck kill are really cool. I don't know if you've seen the behind the scenes on it, but it's really
Yeah, her
awesome.
face goes into the ledge there when
Yeah,
it comes in.
yeah. Basically the ledge was kind of like those the pin art thing where you put your hand in and it
Yeah.
goes through. Yeah, it's a rig kind of like that,
Hmm.
where they have the thing close in on Anna Laura, but it ends up kind of like creating like a indentation for where her face actually is. So her
Yeah.
face is not at all being crushed, but it's created, but it's just done so that way
Like
in
the
post they can
shape
make it
around it looks like it's going through her head, which is
exactly,
cool.
exactly. It's really cool. And as a just a show of safety, one of the directors actually tested it on himself first
Yeah,
just to show that
that's
it
the
could,
scene I saw was him testing it out, and I was like, I think that's from
yeah,
Final Destination. Yeah.
yeah. But they did that effect. It was freaking friggin' incredible.
Must have played that.
But pretty much by that point, after that, they're taking Stephanie seriously now.
Yeah, it only took a couple more deaths, and that's Final Destination at its finest. Is usually about three is when we'll start taking this seriously. And
Yeah,
I do love that this one, that scene that just happened, there's a lot of callbacks to old deaths that everybody loves. Even
yeah,
you're walking into the street and getting hit by a bus, Eric just backs into the street and almost gets creamed by a dang bus. And it's like, okay, you guys are on our side. Like
yeah.
these are
And
just
actually,
cute little callbacks to these deaths.
and I gotta give love to just the filmmaking because the problem when you do a death like that, so many ones afterwards,
Hmm.
they had them lingering out in the street for so long, you're just expecting the bus to hit. But the brilliance of that very first bus kill in the first movie is the fact that she's not in the street long before the bus hits her.
Hmm.
And even better is that they do the same trick here where it doesn't even, you can't even see his feet. You don't even know if he's even in the street,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but the thing zips past him. So that tells you, okay, they did the same trick. They were able to pull off the same trick to make us believe that he was in the street, but it's like, no, he never was. It
Hmm.
just zipped close to him. So gorgeous filmmaking. That is the way you do that death right. Because the problem is if you linger that way too much, people are automatically going to predict that they're going to get hit by something. And the longer you take on that, the worse it gets because it stretches the credibility of how the hell did they get hit if the driver did not see them, if they've been lingering out in the fucking street that long.
Yeah, which I was making a comment about that garbage truck driver being the most distracted driver in the world because he's swiping
Oh,
on Tinder while he's
he's
trying
swiping.
and he's listening to music and they're trying to
He's
get his
listening.
attention left, right, and front.
He's listening to fucking Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, what the?
My gosh, you're
What?
so
What?
engrossed in everything but what's going on around you.
I just want to know what the hell is. I do not want to see this guy's lifestyle if he's swiping right, listening to Kelly Clarkson. This is the guy who I'm pretty sure has underage like hentai
Yeah.
hentai tentacle porn in his house. This is the kind of guy I'm picturing. Is like that's the case, but it's like, oh my God. So yeah, at this point, they're pretty much taking the whole shit seriously now. When they find out the reason why it was Julie and not Eric, like they predicted, is because we find out that Eric is not actually part of the bloodline.
Ooh, awkward way to find that
Yeah,
out.
yeah. And again, we gotta.
just gotta keep giving love to Richard Harmon. His performance, just the way he is that what you wanted? Because he finds out it was just some nothing neighbor. And he's like,
Hmm.
is that the reason why you want us to play catch?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Aunt Brenda was like, "Oh, I didn't want to tell you before because, it seemed insane, but yeah, you're not his biological child." And he's like,
Yeah,
"What did
just
you just say?"
yeah.
Ooh,
So
ouch.
this is a kind of a but because now this is the major thing that to me screamed why this movie is so brilliant because and actually it was funny when we were doing our early podcast before the movie came out, we were we were alluding to the fact we had heard that this was going to all encapsulate everything that we've seen before. And I was like, how's that happen? We now realize that everything that has transpired in this franchise prior to the events at the Skyview happened because all these hundreds of lives went out, propagated, and all those lives became all of our characters from all the
Hmm.
prior movies.
Hmm.
And
And
that
every
all the
disaster
big,
in history since the Skyview happened. Yeah.
yeah. And that was another thing that just immediately said this movie's fucking brilliant. This movie is doing it right and is and because the one hitch with all these other movies is that like a lot of them, especially like 3 and 4, which Bloodworth's not even in,
Hmm.
those just seem like okay, this is just another Final Destination with just a different set of characters. But now, just this explanation alone ties everything together.
Yeah.
And now you can go back and actually watch all these movies back to back to back because you are assured that they are all connected
Yep.
because of what happened at the Skyview so long ago. So and that actually leads us to uh JB, as we find out Iris had a close relationship with someone named JB who we don't know who he is, but
Hmm.
we know who it was.
We
We
just
knew who
know
it
that there's
was.
a note saying he figured out how to stop it or something.
Yeah.
So now they got to find out who JB is.
Well, I mean, we find out who it is, and it is the man. It is Tony Todd. It is we find out his full name is William John Bloodworth, and that he what now back in the Skyview, he was there that day. His mom was a singer at that bar, and he was a little kid. He was the little kid who was just there at work because he had to be, and he
Hmm.
should have died along with everyone else. But uh, turns out he did not. So this now it was funny. You and I were speculating, and I'm so glad I re-listened to our episode on that. We were screaming, "Who the fuck is Bloodworth?
Yeah.
What the fuck
Yeah.
is Bloodworth?"
Because originally, I don't think they planned on him being such this kind of character. They were just like, we need an ominous, creepy character who kind of helps everybody along and explains the storyline over and over and over again.
Yeah, but then and I get so emotional now. I mean, I don't know how you responded just because for anyone on the podcast, go listen to our episode that we did on Candyman. I'm still raw about Tony Todd's death. I mean, it was stomach cancer that inevitably took him, but again, my sadness really just comes about with the timing of his death and in relation to all the shit going on in the world right now. Again, go listen to that episode for my full explanation on it. So that, and having met him myself and just knowing what a wonderful, beautiful man he was, it just really hit hard. This was honestly horror's equivalent to Fast and the Furious 7 with the send off they did to Paul Walker.
Hmm.
Like this is that level in terms of like how much it hurts and just not only just how beautiful it was. They actually um, by the point that Tony Todd got cast in the movie, and unfortunately, when you see him in this movie, he is showing like he is just emaciated. It is you can tell
Hmm.
he's not long. Everyone involved knew that, even he himself knew. So, legendarily, they let Tony Todd write his final line
Which
for the
that
movie.
is probably the coolest thing you can do to a character who left such a legacy behind and such a legend. To be playing a character that has to do with death itself and sending the message to his fans, which is what it was, to live your life, to enjoy it. And it's it's tragic that we lost him, but it is really cool that he was able to leave that message knowing that he didn't have
Yeah,
long. Because not everybody gets that chance. Not everybody knows, and that's,
yeah.
part of
And
the premise
there's
of this
something.
movie.
Yeah, I was actually, thank you. I was just literally about to say that there's just something so legitimately perfect about someone giving a message about death in a franchise that is pretty much all about
Mhm.
uh, people's reactions to the reality of impending death. And here's a person who is actually not walking who's walking into that gentle night at peace, just completely content and at peace, and just simply saying, I have looked at death all my life, and finally and now just knowing that my number is about to be up, I'm going to just enjoy for what I have. Now, this leads to another question. How did Bloodworth manage to survive all this time? I, to
You
me,
know, it has to do with the fact that he delved his work into death, I think, that he stared at it
thank
every
you.
day. That he
Thank
went
you.
from, he was a mortician at some point, and then became a coroner. I think he was an expert in it in a different way than Iris was.
Yeah.
She kind of was consumed by the paranoia and the madness, where I think he was very calm about it. I think he was sort of Death's partner.
It, I think, well, actually, I'd say less partner, I'd say more acolyte. I'd
Mm,
say more just the idea that because he experienced death or a near death experience at such a young age,
hmm
and because it's actually revealed that after the incident he actually had a friendship with Iris afterwards, because for all intents and purposes trauma bonding.
hmm
Um, he obviously, instead of her, where she developed a antagonistic relationship with death, he on the other hand obviously embraced death and came to respect it,
Yeah.
and found a way to uh, honor it in its way.
hmm
And honestly, working as a mortician, I mean, I would imagine anyone, there actually, I've never watched the show 6 Feet Under, but I would love to see an actual reality show that talks about the life of a mortician.
Yeah.
Just to really and honestly, it should be a show that just talks about just the delicacies of life, just kind of talking about how
Oh,
legitimately,
yeah.
yeah. And because you got to have a special constitution to be able to do that job every day and see all kinds of death in various grotesque forms. I mean, what kind of perspective would that give you about life if you see
Yeah,
death like that?
and there's plenty of jobs like that too, where I mean, the job I originally wanted was a crime scene investigator, and I knew I'd have to have a thick stomach to do that because you
Yeah,
kind of have to numb yourself to what you're witnessing, and disconnect from the fact that you're dealing with human beings or people who were human beings. But with his character, I don't think he disconnected like that. I think he had a respect for all of it, for the person who they were, like just like it was sort of an art.
yeah, precisely. Yeah, that's my thought too. So, um, honestly, I'm willing to, even if there no explanation comes afterwards. I think that's just my headcanon on why.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. Because I,
Yeah,
I I think originally they were like, oh, we want people to be kind of afraid of this character, and by the end, I'm like, you're not supposed to be afraid of him. He's a friend, and he's a survivor too. He's
yeah,
on their plane of existence. He's not some deity. He's not some paranormal anything. He's also dying, and
yeah,
he just knows how to handle this a lot better than all these scared young people do.
precisely. Exactly. It's excellent.
But in true Bloodsworth form, he also gives them a piece of the puzzle, explaining that, hey, I have met somebody who has beaten this before. You had to,
Mm,
as he
yeah.
explained,
Kimberly
like take a
Corman.
life. Yeah,
Yeah.
Kimberly.
Yeah. Actually, here's the funny thing. People were having a hard time verifying whether or not she lived past Final Destination 2. And now they confirmed, yes, she did. She did
hmm
survive afterwards.
Yeah,
She
again, like
did.
they tied up all these loose ends, which is great. There's not a character
Yeah.
left behind where it's like, what happened to them? Like, oh, they live or
Yeah, no,
die.
it's like they confirmed
Yeah.
that she lived, and I'm willing to accept by extension, so did the cop.
hmm
So yeah, I'm pretty sure so they lived too. So that, again, this movie tied it up, but also gave us everything that we did learn before and actually are putting it to play here, which leads to easily one of the funniest fucking moments. Well, the whole everything involving Eric and Bobby afterwards is comedy gold.
Oh yeah.
But this one bit where they're like going, okay, we gotta kill someone, and they're standing outside the maternity ward, and I just love
Oh
they're just
God. Not
no,
don't.
no, no,
No, no, no,
no,
no, no.
no,
And they
dude.
just
And
gotta look over again.
I just love how I love how Bobby gets stirred going, do not touch the babies.
Do not touch that baby.
No, the babies. I was
The
like,
babies.
I just love the fact that they are looking at it. They oh my God,
And then
just
of course
they could
Eric ends up next to an old woman later and is like, "So how much time do you got left?"
oh my God, just oh
She's like, "Hopefully a lot."
fucking
What?
brilliant. Just I don't know if it was just the character as written. I mean, Guy Busick was a co-writer on this, and Guy Busick, of course, did amazing work with Ready or Not and Screams 5 and 6. So it's like, yeah, and this was the kind of stuff right here that immediately told me, okay, a guy from Radio Silence helped write this because this shit is
Yeah.
gold,
Oh yeah.
right here. But then it leads into the probably the funniest, the most painful, but
Wacky.
yet the funniest goddamn death.
Yeah.
Now, one thing Bloodworth does say is like, if you fuck with death, if you fuck with death, it gets messy.
Yeah,
And
he said be careful because they're trying to fuck with death. So it's like if you
yeah,
get in the way, it doesn't matter if you're on the list. It's gonna get messy.
yeah, death will not take. And unfortunately, that was the reason why Eric gets killed. Is the fact that he kept
Yeah.
fuck because he was making an active effort to help interfere with Bobby getting killed.
Which, yeah,
Uh,
that's another interesting thing about this movie is of course he's going to interfere. He loves his brother, whereas like
yeah,
previous movies, it's like these people felt like they were on their own with this problem. It was like, I don't have any connection to anybody outside of the list, and that's it. Whereas like, you've got somebody not on the list who loves you, they're going to try to save you. So this is, I think, one of the first times somebody not involved in the trauma, the accident, gets involved and is taken because of it.
and I love that it's because he's taking an active effort. He's doing it entirely out of
Hmm.
just love for his brother, and just a whole series of circumstances, just the lead up, and I love Bobby's attitude where he's like going, I don't want to eat salted nuts. If I'm gonna
Yeah,
do
yeah,
this,
yeah. So the whole idea is that we're gonna kill Bobby and bring him back. We're gonna resuscitate him. So he's deathly allergic to peanuts. We're gonna get him some peanuts from the vending machine, which I love that it's a nod to the vending machine death in one of the other ones. And the whole urban legend of the guy who got killed by the vending machine because he was
yeah,
messing with it too much. They definitely poke fun at that a whole lot in that scene.
oh man, oh yeah, no, and again, just great. Then yeah, you think he's gonna die by the classic just falling over, but it's like no,
Even
this
a
is Final
sticker of
Destination.
that happening, right? I was like, it's not gonna be that easy. Come on.
It's never going to be that easy. Death is going to do something insane and it's going to be convoluted and it's going to
Mhm.
be wild. But even then, leading up to it, just, yeah, they have him eat a Reese's peanut butter cup or at the very least a knockoff Reese's peanut butter
Yeah.
cup. And I even like it's like, that was actually really good.
Yeah, he's like, oh my God. He's like, what? He's like, so good. Because somebody who can't eat peanut butter probably thinks a Reese's tastes really good. I'm like, hey, yeah,
And you know what? Even I myself, who eats them all the time, I'm like, no, they are just legitimately that
they
good.
are good.
They may very
Yeah.
well be one of my favorite candies of all time. But even then, just in the midst of their antics, they accidentally turn on an MRI machine, and Death, of course, doing his thing, soup the thing up so the magnetism
Full
goes
blast
to
into
goes to freaking
research mode,
11.
apparently.
All I could tell you, just of course, when his earrings came out, I'm like, oh fuck. But then his nose
Yeah,
ring
we
came
we
out,
get
I was
real
like,
personal with all of Eric's piercings. Like, what do you got, buddy?
oh
We're
man,
gonna
no,
take them all out of you.
it was like peeling a fucking onion,
Yeah.
this whole thing. I was
Oh
like, and the second his nips start coming out, I'm like, immediately when I
yeah.
saw
Yep.
the nips come, like, please don't have a Prince
Oh
Albert.
yeah.
Please don't tell me you have
You
a
know
Prince
he
Albert.
will. You know he
And
will.
surely enough, I was like, oh my God, no.
Jeez. Gets sucked right into the MRI machine
Oh,
backwards. And I
yeah.
love the fact that he had this is the reference to the pipes coming through the skull.
Yeah.
He's got a tattoo of the skull and the wheelchair
I
just gets
picked up on that.
fucking
Yeah.
it just gets sliced through him in the pipes and I'm like, "Oh my God, there's so many cool references to the other movies in this movie and they do it so subtly. It's
Yeah.
not so in your face, haha, nostalgia bait, we got you." It's like it's part of the scene and it's
It's
great.
part of the scene and it works. And then, of course, poor Bobby, it
Yeah.
has this whole thing where he's going through anaphylactic shock and he's trying to get the EpiPen, but he gets it, but
Hmm.
then the magnet's
But
still on and he gets his head impaled by a fucking
yeah, that
spring.
vending machine had its revenge at the end of the day because it's a spring that comes out of the vending machine that impales his
Yeah.
head and it just keeps twisting and twisting. And I'm like, oh man, that is gnarly.
So perfect, so good. So, yeah, that if not the kid getting crushed by the piano, this would have been like the big applause worthy sequence, which I'm, yeah. again, I wish I was in a full theater for this one because man, I'm sure the reactions would have been through the fucking roof. I mean, how was your audience on that
It
whole
was,
sequence?
I mean, it was fittingly, this is the funniest Final Destination. Final Destination's never been funny before, so there was a whole lot of laughing going on in my theater, and I was like, this is
Yeah,
so interesting that this dark of a subject, they actually managed to turn it into kind of like a comedy horror in places.
but not overbearing comedy where it
Right, right.
derails
It's
because
still a
it
very dark subject, but some of the stuff, especially with Eric as the character,
yeah.
just a delight to. I was like, when I left, there was press there asking us, how we like the movie, and I was like, I've never had so much fun watching people die because it was a very fun time.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's awesome. I wish, yeah. I don't have press coming to our screens, man. That sucks. I wish I had that.
It's because we're right next to California.
Oh,
They just
that
gotta
right.
hop
That makes
right over
sense.
here.
I think the only time in my life I've ever encountered where the press was there for a screening of a movie, like, was when when me and my ex came out of the very first screening of Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, like the first screening of the day. Coming out of the theaters, the press were there.
But yeah,
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, shit. I'm
yeah.
like, Jesus.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of these early screenings we have are for the press, and then we just get the extra tickets to fill up the rest of the seats. So it's like, oh, if all the horror groups I'm involved with are like, hey, leave a comment and you could be entered in to win this, and that's usually how I get into these movies for free early. But it's like I'm enjoying it with the first people who are getting to witness it for the press.
is that like a mailing list or something you get on, or
It's mostly just well, it's horror groups on Facebook. So if you follow them, which I follow all of them because they're all involved in the cons I do. So
okay?
if you have horror groups who run cons in your area, follow them on Facebook and see what they do.
I think I remember Spooky doing that a couple
Like
times.
even
Yeah.
your horror shop you showed me. A lot of
Oh,
ours
Atomic
come
Horror.
from
Oh, that's
shops
right.
like
Yeah,
that. So if
that's
you
right.
follow
Atomic.
them,
Yeah.
they could probably get tickets to these events. Usually they'll go for shops like that.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'll look at that. And even if not, I'll talk to Atomic Horror to do that because
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
that's right.
absolutely.
Yeah,
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 just get
that's right. I
involved
did.
with what they do, and they want to give out tickets so that they can fill these seats for these horror movies. So it's a good
Uh,
win-win.
Note to self, everybody. So, you all look for your own local horror shop, and hopefully they
Hmm.
do the same thing. So now with those two dead, we now have our final three, Stephanie, Charlie, and Denise. They make the weirdest ass decision because they think it's the safest place possible. They decide to go to
Wait, they go back
Iris's.
to the Dead by Daylight map where Iris was living, and they were like,
They
"Oh,
don't they don't they don't even get into the goddamn house
no!"
before.
They opened the door, and that's about as far as they can get. And
No,
I'm like, "You
they don't
guys
even open
thought
the door.
this?"
They crash through the fucking gate.
Well, I think Iris opened the door, and that's why the gas leak happened, and that's what
Yeah.
set off the fire. But like
Yeah.
this place was not safe. But their logic was, well, Iris lived here for so many years. I'm like, yeah, but she knew how to handle this place. Like she built it or whatever, whoever built it for her or whatever. The situation, like it wasn't safe for
Yeah.
her either. She just knew how to handle it.
It's like funny enough, actually, here's the sick part. Actually, Eric and Bobby actually had the right idea.
Hmm.
Find a way to induce a near death state and resuscitate. It's risky, but it's the only play you got. It's
Well,
like
it's even riskier when death is trying to stop you because that's exactly it would have worked if death hadn't have been like, no, 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 no. We're gonna kill both of you.
exactly.
No, no,
So yeah, so then we get a big so with that we get the big old final finale. Denise gets forgets squashed to death by I think a phone pole. But we do get and apparently
more comedic timing of I'm gonna be alive as long as Smash. Like as long as
yeah.
this sentence.
Yeah, but then there does lead to a really good high tension sequence where Stephanie, now apparently Caitlin Santajuana actually did have to learn. Actually, she did condition herself to stay underwater for two minutes.
Yeah,
Like she actually
yeah.
learned to hold her breath for like 2 minutes
Hmm.
because she knew that there was going to involve a lot of long takes for her being underwater. So she actually
Sure.
prepped herself for it in order to pull that off. So, but we get pretty much the repeat of Final Destination 2, where she has a near death experience, or quote unquote dies and gets
Yeah,
resuscitated.
yeah. I did find that odd when they came to the conclusion that they were suddenly safe. I was like, because you got her breathing again? Like we didn't establish her heart stopped or anything. And that
Exactly.
and that is what the final thought was like, well, she didn't die. They're like, what do
Yeah,
you mean? Like
and
you just got her breathing again. Like she didn't die.
well, in their defense, they're not doctors.
No. But I would have still continued to be paranoid then, being like, we don't know if that worked.
And actually, in a fun way, it does kind of play on our expectations because lest we forget, this is how Kimberly almost died in Final
Hmm.
Destination 2.
Hmm. Hmm.
So for all intents and purposes, we think we're repeating, but it's like, no, Kimberly legitimately died. She was
Yeah.
flatlining
Hmm.
when they resuscitated her. So she was actually dead. That's why she's still alive. Whereas Stephanie, yeah, she was still, she still
She was
actually had
out for
life
a
in
few
her.
minutes, but like, she just coughed up and she was fine.
And a nice bit of foreshadowing, they actually, way early in the movie, when you actually meet Christopher, you actually find out that he was in lifeguard training.
Oh yeah. Wow.
So he would know about how to do
True.
CPR. So
True.
nice bit of foreshadowing there.
Hmm.
But as these things go in pure Final Destination fashion, we get our big. It actually, I'm trying to weigh one or the other. I'm trying to think. This might have been like one of the biggest freaking ending, like final. No, actually, no. It's Flight 180 is still pretty big, but I mean,
Flight 180,
this
I
one was
think
pretty.
the subway was also pretty big too, just because you're in that
Yeah,
disaster that hit them. But
yeah. But in this case, a train derails. But
yeah,
even then, you
with
and
the
you and you think
same penny derailing it. Ah.
yeah, with the penny, which I love the path of the penny. It just,
Oh yeah.
for the longest time, it was in Iris's book, but then it fell out of the book, ended up in the pocketbook of an old lady. She ends up using the penny, but then the penny falls out of her
She
change purse. I'm
falls.
like,
Yeah, that penny's on a mission.
full, full circle,
Yeah.
full circle. The only thing literally that would have made that better is if after the train derailed, the penny like whipped out of
Shoots
the
out.
out of the junction and then
Yeah.
landed perfectly in that what's left of that fountain.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That would have been perfect. That would have been fucking perfect. But yeah, and great nod to Final Destination 2. They
Yeah,
get
out of
killed by stray
nowhere, the
logs.
log truck gets its revenge and it decides it's going to fly up over behind the derailed
Yeah.
train and murder them all.
And just completely in an unglamorous
Uh,
fashion, just
my
both of
favorite
these kids.
character, the log truck.
Yeah. These two. So, oh man, a lot to unpack with this one. Well, this, as we said, is the longest movie in the series, but there was a lot to unpack with this one. So,
Hmm.
God damn. Well, as now granted again, because we know that the seventh one is coming out soon, or coming
Yeah,
out probably next year, it seems counterproductive to do our final ranking now, but given the fact that we're probably going to reconvene later on to reevaluate our ranking.
sure.
So in the meantime, let's go ahead and just do our final ranking of the Final Destination.
Might be slightly controversial in my rankings. I'm going to start at my lowest.
All
Number
right.
four is obviously my lowest.
Okay.
Um, Next up is I'm going to say two. I know people love two, but that's where I'm
Yeah.
putting it. And I would say from from here to one, um, it's not that they're bad movies.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like four as much. I just liked them slightly less than each other. So I know it's my second to last ranking is two, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah.
The next one I'm gonna put five. Um,
Hmm.
then third place is going to go to number one because it really just established the whole franchise in a really great way.
Hmm.
Second place is Bloodline, and first place is number three.
Okay. Yeah, and you've laid your case out when we talked about three because I was very surprised and kind of delighted when you said three was yours because I'm like, good. That's a hot take. I
Yay!
like hot takes.
Yay! I like it.
Hot takes are fun. In fact, I want to do a whole episode all about I want to have a roundtable episode where we all talk about hot takes and
Ooh,
not attack anybody, not attack each
yeah,
other. Just say that everyone has their own hot take, which is personally their own, which I'm like, that would be fun. Just
true.
compare notes, not attack each other, just compare notes. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
So, for myself, mine is probably not so controversial by comparison. Yes, me, like practically a lot of other people, yeah, the Final Destination, the fourth one, is easily the worst of the bunch. And this is pure and simple for this, just the fact that it's the only one, which I will say I actually do not want to watch again. I have no desire to
yeah,
watch it again.
yeah. It was kind of forgettable, honestly. I could play it in the
It's
background and be like, "That must be four in the background."
yeah, it's a nothing burger of a movie, and
Yeah,
that's not where this franchise needs to be. Um, and but I will say from here on in, all the other ones I could happily watch again and again.
yeah,
Three is my next tier on that, and it's just because I like the other ones more. Just that's all there is to it.
yeah. That's how I feel about
I
two.
yeah, and it's just I really I there's a lot of things I do like about three, but I mean, it still has one of the deaths in the series that made me jump out of my fucking seat. With
Yeah,
the
still ones
with
that makes me cringe and squirm today.
exactly. So, there's still greatness in three, but the rest of them above it just kind of beat it. Now, here's the thing. I actually just rejigged this list. I actually just today, after rewatching both Bloodlines and Five, I actually did a big rejig of this list. So
Oh,
this actually has changed.
cool.
Um, Next is the first one.
Okay,
Not for nothing. Actually, I've discovered very seldom it is that the first one ever tops my list. It's very rare. A
sure.
lot of times because, like any first episode of a TV series, you don't, the full breadth and potential of the franchise to me is not there yet.
Yeah.
Final Destination is still, the first Final Destination is still a great movie, but to me, like everything I discovered I loved about it didn't come until afterwards. Next one is the fifth one.
Mhm.
Again, this was actually up on the list, but after rewatching it, I ended up liking it a hell of a lot more for a lot of the things that we just discussed, actually, that I
Yeah.
just realized about the movie. Number two, pretty much for the same reasons as Saw 2, is like all the things I discovered I loved about it. And add on to it, as I said before, when I first saw it, I didn't care for it as much. But then when I rewatched it, like way later on, where I was a lot wiser, I ended
Mhm.
up learning to love it a hell of a lot more because of it. So I think because my margin of how much I felt about the movie increased so exponentially,
Yeah.
that made it. So that basically means, and again, this is because the more I kept thinking of Bloodlines, Bloodlines is now my favorite.
Yeah.
Bloodlines is my
Yeah.
favorite one.
I honestly worry that the next one will not live up to it because it just did such a good job of not only tying together the rules of death and everything, but like all the other sequels were kind of involved in this one, and that's crazy.
I actually, that's a good conversational segue right there because to me, the only thing that I would like them to finally get into is where the damn prophecies, premonitions come from.
Yeah.
That's actually now that is like literally the only thing they have left to tackle is where the hell
Yeah, but
those premonitions
I
come
don't
from.
I wonder if they explain it, I think it might bring up people being mad that they don't like the explanation or it didn't make sense. I kind of like the mystery of it, really.
I like the mystery, but again, when you're also doing a franchise as long as you have to, inevitably you're going to have to cave. But even then, there is, well, here's my theory. Personally, I actually think Death himself is responsible for the premonitions because Death's scheme is something so much more great. In a way, it's kind of like Donnie Darko, where everything that happened in Donnie Darko happened because Donnie got out of bed before the jet engine crashed. And
Mhm.
because he did, the universe, like everything was just about to end. The world was about to end. So through a thing of causal loop,
Mhm.
you know, through just a set of circumstances, he was able to transport himself back through time to that same spot. So to me, I think what is happening here is that Death has a grander, bigger scheme,
Mm.
something like everything leading up to a point, because ultimately Death is a force that no one can truly understand, that it can't be properly rationalized, and that its ways are something that can never truly be understood except by Death himself. So there is that very real possibility that the premonitions are all part of Death's scheme
Mhm.
because Death wants things to land in a particular way, like a specific way. And in order to do that, it has to resort to extraordinary means, such as premonition.
Yeah.
So that to me,
So my question
that's,
to you about that is, would take into consideration human will though? Because that's what's messing with his everything.
yeah,
Or
I think,
is he like Jigsaw where he saw that coming already? He knows what you're
oh,
gonna do before you even do it.
I mean, when you're dealing with a powerful force such as Death, I do believe it's a full-blown Jigsaw thing. I do
Hmm.
think Death, no, I think Death does take into account people's will to survive. I just believe, but I also think that in order to sustain the fabric of reality, it obviously has to resort to certain tactics in order for it to move forward. So I think that if we want to get fully existential with Final Destination, I think that is what it is. And to be dead honest, now if I had, I, if you had come to me with something like this before Bloodlines came out, I would have said that seems a little too cerebral for this franchise. But I think Bloodlines, because of everything they achieved in terms of the whole concept of the Bloodlines, and in terms of the cause and effect from her saving everyone on the Skyview, I actually believe now we could think about that. We could bring that conversation to the table about just the idea that death is such a big, powerful force that we can never truly understand, no matter how much we rationalize it.
Sure.
That, yeah, I do believe that the franchise has matured enough that we could introduce those ideas to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be all right with that.
Yeah. So, all right. Granted, I think one of these answers, I think we're going to be in mutual agreement on, but
Oh, yeah.
just because for closure. All right, give me your top premonition kill and your top real kill.
My top premonition kill is the one that got all the cheers, the small child.
Of course. No,
I
that little shit needed to go.
was like, come
That little
on,
shit need,
man.
yeah.
And the
All
fact that
right,
he thought he
so
escaped just to have a piano land on him. Yes.
oh man, no, I don't think I cheered that this much since The Departed when Matt Damon finally got it at the tail end of the movie.
Also,
Because
where are this kid's
because
parents?
there are characters in this life that you just want dead so bad, and when they draw it out,
Yeah. Oh,
when you
yeah.
draw
Satisfying.
yeah, it's so satisfying when they finally do, and that was so fucking satisfying. And
Yes.
yeah, it's like it was so great. All right, so real kill.
I think I'm gonna give it to the cookout because phew, just the amount of misdirection, the fact that like moving the rake out of the way was actually part of the plan, and you never really knew where the ice was or the glass was gonna end up being, and it took out such a big character in this family that led to a lot of grief and a lot of more decisions being made. I've got to give it to the cookout.
I'll take it. I'll take it. For me, just because the way it evolves and just the fact that I could have phantom pains but also laugh my ass off at the same time. It's got to go to Eric's just
Hmm.
because the buildup is so great. Just having his parts being ripped off is one thing, but then just the fact that it just kept getting worse and worse and worse all the way down to dick mutilation. I'm like going, like suffice to say, if this ended up, it would never would, but if it did end up on the last drive-in, you know, Melissa Rose is going to get called in as the mangled dick expert to consult on it
Hmm.
because that is a mangled dick right there, right? Yeah. So just the fact that we got a mangled dick kill,
Yeah.
uh, paired with it's just one that works and add on to it, it's a death that is just perfect for such a wonderful freaking character, like easily top three, easily best character in the entire franchise,
Yeah. Yeah, I would say
like no question. So
just a
all
fun
right,
guy.
fun guy all around, but also someone that if he were my brother, I'd be happy to have as my brother.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. That is the Final Destination Legacies of Fear. Thank you, Emily, for this. So, did now I know you already gave me one of your random recommendations, but did you have any other you want to throw into the mix? Just any that
Um,
you've seen over the past couple months?
Gosh, I don't have any right now, but I'm gonna be hitting up some more stuff come Halloween here.
Oh yeah, no, it's yeah, for us right now as recording, it's the Halloween season. I'm taking this time to actually play catch up with Lynn because Lynn, there's a lot of stuff Lynn still hasn't seen yet, so I'm gonna show them a bunch of stuff. But actually, one thing that we have been binging recently. We actually did a binge on some of the Puppet Master movies. Like
Nice.
we actually sat down and watched Puppet Masters 3, 4, and 5
Nice.
for the first time. Easily, thus far, 3 is the best. Like easily, no question, it's the best. It's the best
Oh
produced,
yeah.
best acting. It has the most compelling story. Like Toulon really is like a they really did a good job rejigging Toulon to be a much more like sweet natured, like fatherly character as like so much better. And you could and 3, 4, and 5, I give it. You could watch all three of those back to back to back because there's such a nice connectivity between the three of them.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, the fifth one just feels like an appendage to the fourth one. But again, if you watch them back to back, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. So
for sure.
so yeah, now I don't know where to go from here with Puppet Master, so we'll see there. But apart from that,
You saw
VHS
VHS,
Halloween,
didn't you? Yeah,
yeah,
I know you
VHS
did.
Halloween, yeah, which I don't know if I mentioned it in my interview. Actually, no, I didn't mention it in my interview with Rebecca because I only found out after we did the interview that Rebecca was actually in VHS Halloween, and
Oh, that's cool.
she told
Mind
me
blown.
she told me not only like after she saw my review for VHS Halloween on TikTok, she told me I was in that. I was like,
Aw,
I wish I had known because I would have wanted to talk to you about VHS Halloween.
sure.
Um, but I'll go ahead and say it again, just because. I mean, just because if you, I don't know, if the VHS movies are so freaking great, but
Hmm.
this one in particular had some. Well, first of all, a lot of the great thing about VHS Halloween is that every single segment relates to a key quirk about Halloween, like, and all of them draw from it, like antics at a Halloween party. The first story actually derives from kids when they're about to age out of trick-or-treating and how they respond to it. And part of the reason why maybe trick-or-treating is strictly something that maybe kids should do. But then it actually does a flip where the final story involves a dad who's sad that his son is aging out of Halloween and he's trying to have a final hurrah with his kid.
Hmm.
But then one that was actually directed from the same guy who did the Too Many Cooks short on Adult Swim, and who also did the Adult Swim Yule Log. Um, Movie. He did a short where I want this to be a movie. Like it needs to be a movie. But it all derives from those people who just leave a bowl of candy on the front porch and they say take one.
Yeah.
This
And if you
short,
don't,
yeah, this short is what happens when you don't just
gotcha.
take one.
Is
And
that
I'm not gonna tell
Alan
you,
Resnick that you're talking about? He did like all the
no.
creepy Adult Swim stuff.
No, 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 no. The Too Many Cooks I don't have
Oh,
the name in front of it, but
gotcha.
um yeah, but there's also one short called Kid Print. That is the one that is easily the most uncomfortable. That is the one that gets real because it's all about stranger danger.
Mm-hmm.
And then now all the other shorts in it are all paranormal. All of them have otherworldly elements. Kid Print is the only one that gets real,
Mm-hmm.
like is unflinchingly real, and it just is unsettling to watch.
Okay.
Um, so a really successful one. I'd have to get I had to sit down. Actually, I did do my ranking of the VHS with this edition, but it's definitely high on the tier. But I'd still maintain VHS 2 and 94 are still my favorite. But this one, pretty high up. Pretty
Gotcha,
high up.
gotcha. I just
Yeah.
remembered one other. If you haven't seen it, I would check out Together as well.
Oh yeah, I saw Together. I
Yeah,
love Together.
some
And,
crazy
and, and,
body horror there.
and yeah, speaking of painful dick scenes, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Oh God, no.
there's a deep dicking right there that is definitely
I don't know.
uh
I don't know how she wasn't bleeding more, because that's a horrific
I
situation.
don't know. He wasn't bleeding.
Gosh.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, and the thing, a major thing I said before, the reason why I love that movie is because it actually talked about it used the story from Plato's Symposium. You've seen Hedwig and the Angry Inch, right?
Yeah.
You know the song Origin of Love?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Together was about.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
It was literally about that.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
We're being cryptic for people, so either watch Together or watch Hedwig and the Angry Inch,
right.
either one. But that's why I loved it. As soon as they started talking about Plato's Symposium, I was like, oh, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
love this movie now. I love
Mm-hmm.
this movie now
Mm-hmm.
because for all intents and purposes, what we're seeing is a portrayal of Plato's Symposium.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
so I really freaking loved it.
Also, the great use of Two Become One. I was like, I haven't heard that song in decades, and I was like, what a wonderful movie to put a Spice Girls song into.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So that was the Final Destination series. So, Emily, go ahead and give everyone your socials, let everyone know where to find you.
You can find me on Instagram at AZ Amanda Young, as well as YouTube at Lady White Rabbit.
All righty. Cool. And until then, hopefully we will do this again soon. You and I will actually we still need to do that one. We were talking about doing an episode on horror cosplay, so we gotta
True.
uh yeah, we still gotta get that on. So everyone, but for everyone else, stay tuned. Actually I'm setting up a meeting with a friend so we can do another Maestros of Mayhem devoted to hopefully get this one done, but devoted to David Cronenberg. For Thanksgiving, we're doing our breakdown of The Mutilator because you're gonna have a fall break. And then we go into our Christmas schedule with and actually we finally figured it out. We're going to do Gremlins 1 and 2. Since Lynn and I have actually started, we didn't realize this, but we started a tradition on the podcast where we always do a double review because we first did it with Jack Frost 1 and 2. Last year we did Silent Night, Deadly Nights 1 and 2. This year we're going to do Gremlins 1 and 2. Then we're going to do Christmas Evil. And the new remake of Silent Night, Deadly Nights coming out. So we're going to have we're probably going to, for Christmas Day, we'll probably have a episode doing a review on that. So got a lot coming. And then naturally for the end of 2025, we are gonna, me and Mac and Alka are gonna do the Belial Awards, rounding up the year in horror. So got our lineup planned. Thank God. I like a backlog. All right, everybody. So if you wish to delve into the dark bowels of human imagination, ask yourself the simple question, what's in the podcast?
Thank you for joining us on this edition of What's in the Podcast. If you find yourself hungry for more deep cuts into the gloriously morbid and macabre, you can also find us on TikTok, Blue Sky, and YouTube at Narcotic Casserole. You can also follow us on Instagram at Narcotic Casserole 25. Follow us if you dare.